the case. Priest is gone, and now Seohyun will have to pilot his other decks.
Yeah, but Sintolol has lost his Death Rattle 100 in this one, and this does bring a tad bit of worry to me on the side of Seohyun's lineup. You know, I'm looking at Togwaggle Druid that's sitting on Seohyun's side, and if Sintolol doesn't get even Warlock into that, you know, some bad things can happen. I think Taunt Druid is quite strong versus Togwaggle Druid as well, but you know, you're looking at times when the ramp can get out of control, and if Seohyun is fast enough, he can just Togwaggle the deck away after like a pair naturalizes. If Hadronox hasn't shown up by that point, Sintolol is likely just to not get it if that's the case. So there are some tricky points in here overall. It feels like once again that Sinto is going to be, you know, a little bit pressed on the odd paladin. It's got looks like one favorable matchup on the other side of the board to me. So this one is still anyone's game. I think that the way that you lead off on the matchup here is going to make a really big difference.
Versus Sintolol, even Warlock versus Odd Warrior.
Yeah, I'm going to find that Odd Warrior deck list. It is on the ground somewhere. I need to know what these tech choices are. I'm glad I'm not on camera.
Karate chop it when you find it too.
Finally break away and get a hang of this real quick. So as we get into game number one here, I'll tell you what, I am definitely on the even Warlock is favored in this matchup.
Really?
Side of things. By a extreme margin, I will take even Warlock in this one. But there are some things that Sintolol can run into that can give him a bit of an issue. And since you sound so surprised by that, why don't you give me your breakdown on the matter?
See, I actually think it is fairly Odd Warrior favored. I think Odd Warrior just has so many tools to deal with a lot of the threats that even Warlock can present. If Odd Warrior can deal with the first initial couple of threats, for instance, the first Giant that comes down, maybe the first Twilight Drake, it is kind of smooth sailing from that point forward because there's only a limited amount of threats in the even Warlock deck. The threats are the Giants and the Twilight Drakes. If you don't give them hooked Reavers, those are just 4/4s. You can constantly hero power and not have to worry about it.
See, I feel like I'm on the opposite side of the fence where I feel like the pressure adds up very quickly. And I think that almost regardless of what Sintolol is actually plopping down, all of them need to be checked at some point. And when you're talking about, you know, you're talking about a pair of Hooked Reavers, a couple of Shroom Brewers, 2 Twilight Drakes, Skulking Geist, again Greymane, Dread Infernal, Bone Mare, Lich King, 2 Mountain Giants, Blood River Gul'dan. That's a lot of stuff to answer when he's drawing 2 cards a turn.
You did read off the entire even Warlock deck list just now.
Yeah, not the removal spells it did. Those ones tend to not be as good.
Yeah, and Sintolol's hand right now is looking like a whole lot of removal spells. He does have access to that Twilight Drake. Will help him out quite a bit, but a lot of the Odd Warrior lists have been running 2 Ironbeak Owls, which is just essentially like an Earth Shock.
Yeah,
it says kill a Twilight Drake.
It definitely can get tough, and it's, you know, it's a rough and tumble kind of matchup where you got to really power through. But I think that the main difference in it isn't that Seohyun's deck can't handle all the threats that Sintolol is going to throw at him. I think it's a matter of being able to have enough cards to really do it. You know, again, with Sintolol being able to draw, you know, 3 early on, and then on every odd point turn he gets a second card, you pull ahead in terms of card economy very fast.
And you see Seohyun actually commit the Mind Control tech there. Committing the Mind Control tech means that if a Giant were to come down, he could coin out the Dynamatic and clear it up with the 3 damage from the MC tech. So that was a huge nod. And there is Twilight Killer #1 in the hand for Seohyun. A very important.
But he shut that Twilight Drake up. So he's going to do that.
I don't blame him. Get it out of here.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit nervous about what I just said now.
I see you sweating, Admirable.
Not going to lie. I'm not very nervous about it anymore that you called me out.
One important thing in this matchup is that Skulking Geist. That will allow the Shield Slams to essentially be gone. And once they're gone, the Giants...
Omega Assemblies.
And the Omega Assemblies. You are correct on that. And once they're gone, it is much harder to deal with Giants.
Oh, yeah. Now, something that I think Seohyun has a benefit of, I mean, you can see him shaking his head. That's definitely one of the ones he doesn't want to see. There's 2 copies of Faceless Manipulator in the deck. You know, while it is not necessarily a good answer to Giant, it can be an answer to Giant where oftentimes there is not one. So I think that inclusion can definitely help him get past some stuff. Right now he feels under pressure. He hadn't seen a Giant just yet, and that's usually one of the first ones that comes out. So this Faceless more, I think, a nod to the fact that he just doesn't believe Sinto has one.
Not only that, but he just wants to get more tension on the board. He wants to utilize his minions in a way to clear up Sintolol's minions. That way he can save his prime removal later on.
Yeah.
So he's not kind of stressing in the future.
Your magic shall not cease.
Sinto doesn't have interest in using that Mountain Giant right now, and I don't blame him. A lot of stuff on board. Buffing up Spellstones, Black Knight in hand. This hand is getting big from Sintolol, and that's typically what happens when you're able to draw 2 cards a turn.
The one thing going for seohyun here is if he can answer these threats in the Giants, the next worst case scenario will be Gul'dan, but Gul'dan obviously right now doesn't bring back that many threats. And then I think it's just smooth sailing for him.
I want you to look at those two Giants.
I'm looking at the Giants right now,
yeah,
Admirable.
you sweating yet? I'm sweating, and I'm in Sintolol's corner. I'm scared.
I've never sweat in my life. I don't sweat.
You might want to get that checked out, actually.
I might want to. Good thing I'm a doctor. Good thing I'm a doctor. I don't sweat the small things. Giants, they're puny. I know, you keep pointing to those Giants.
Yeah, they're not puny. 8-8. I just want to give you a reference. Timberwolf is a 1-1. Do you think that you could beat a Timberwolf? Like you personally, do you think you could take one on?
Probably not.
You got no shot against the Giant then. Sinto's got 2 of them.
The Giant would never see me.
Oh, that's true.
I'm smaller than a Timberwolf.
You know, Giants often do ignore those underfoot.
I mean, a Giant would ignore a Timberwolf.
Yeah, lest they get squashed while in the way.
I would never be in the way of a Giant, hopefully. I would never be.
Sun Fury shows up, you're like, ah!
I could take a Sun Fury protector.
That's a 2-3.
I couldn't take the Timberwolf, though.
The 2-3 kills 3 Timberwolves. And this is exactly the line that Sinto's supposed to go for. You giddy up, you start pressuring. And this is a good time to load up on board. You know, it's a big extension into a brawl, but if Seohyun has to brawl his own stuff, that's not exactly what he's looking for.
Ooh, but the pickup of the Reckless Flurry, it is a little bit awkward because he won't be able to kill off the Skulkengeist and the Giant, but he doesn't necessarily have to commit a brawl here. So seohyun will take his time to consider this, but I do think this is probably one of the best brawl boards you're going to get.
Which is unfortunate because you still have 9 health of your own minions loaded up. Now, you want those to do work on the board, and those didn't do work on the board if that's the case. Now, that being said, there is that chance. There's that 2 in 5 chance that you come away with glory.
Ooh.
Your own 3-4, your own 5-5. And I'm going to be honest, if I'm sitting in seohyun's seat and I'm staring down this while Sinto's got a full grip, I don't know what that full grip is, and 2 in 5 sounds like a very good chance to take the lead.
Seems gonna be weighing all his options, though. He may be trying to find some kind of super collider play.
You always got to look. You take the time for it. But I'm telling you, it's brawling time. This is not a good matchup. I don't care what Dr. J says. Here comes the brawl. Oh, boy.
Who's going to live?
You sweating yet?
I'm sweating.
That's a dinosaur.
That's not a Giant.
That is a big win.
And let me ask you something. You sweating yet?
I told you, I've been sweating.
Might want to get that checked out. Was it a health total that he can enable to hook the Reaver, though?
Yeah, but that's what the Dynamac's for. I'm curious if Sinto's ever looking at a Spellstone this turn and going, probably. Last thing you want to happen is get Dynamac'd in this situation and have to redevelop into the exact same situation. You want to take the lead and start dealing damage. Even Warlock's about those big swings. It's about those heavy hitters.
You really can't afford to play 2 big threats. Oh, no.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Ah.
I was worried for a second. He had to play one of the 2 drops if he was committing to this line of play, because Super Collider would have been super punished.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely would have collided.
Oh, yeah. And now Seohyun picks up Ziliax. Dynamatic Ziliax is a major line of defense against the big boys that are out there.
Does have a pretty clean Reckless Flurry, though.
It's a true story.
Go for it.
Yet again, though, I mean, you just brawled to try to get this 3-4 advantage. If you can't take advantage of that, that's really something to point out, too, is that Sintolol is putting pressure on at the right times where if Seohyun's going to use AoE, it's costing him something as well.
The most awkward thing about this is seohyun would love to go something like Faceless Super Collider to clean up that Hooked Reaver, but he's staring down the Stubborn Gastropod right now, and that would basically negate everything Faceless is trying to do.
Yeah, Faceless is trying to provide its own board swing a lot of times. You copy a big thing, and then you kill the big thing. A little harder to do when your shield slams are gone. Give you an idea of the deck for Seohyun. It's very lean and pretty much to the point. No No carnivorous cubes in here. No big game hunter. Just good old-fashioned removal.
I do really like this play here, though. It isn't necessarily the best usage of a Super Collider, but he does fully clear the board and put Sintolol back in that same exact situation we were talking about earlier.
That's what he's trying to avoid, turn after turn.
Oh, there's a Lich King.
Lich King is big. Like,
it's like
very
giant big.
Yeah. Sintolol going to take care of this Super Collider.
I think he wants to try and force out removal before he commits to the Lich King.
How much more removal's really there, though? Oh, boy. That's a bingo. That is massive, man.
Check off your bingo cards for the pack right now if you're...
You need value as the Warrior. This is one of the only ways that you legitimately refuel everything once Skulking Geist is hit.
I will say, though, this Ziliax onto the Dynamatic with a Faceless, killing off that Giant. That's a pretty powerful turn, especially because it would set up lethal.
Oh, yeah, since it's
Sintolol's at 12 health right now. Let's not forget that.
Wait, do you kill off the Giant then in that case?
I might just push Face.
That's a, I mean, that's a very...
It's a strong consideration.
Damn, I'm looking at Sinto's hand at the same time, too, though. It's going to partner the Spellstone.
I think this depends on how Seohyun feels about this matchup. Like I said, if he thinks he's heavily favored in the long game, he's going to kill this Giant. If he thinks he needs to end it now, he's going to go Face.
It's rush, not charge, so only one of these can go Face right now.
But if only admirable.
Sinto loses a Giant, not happy about that either. Big swing. Seohyun needs some answers.
It's a big swing, but I don't think it's big enough.
Not yet. This pack's gonna have to produce.
Dr. Boom, though.
Pretty good one, but...
I still think it's the pack.
Oh, yeah, I'm ripping the pack first. I mean, Christmas came early.
You strike me as one of those guys that as soon as you get a pack, doesn't matter what's going on. You could be in a ladder game, you just instantly open up that pack.
Pretty darn bad.
Yeah, pretty weak.
Thinking Shadow Vision's for. Brawl's gone. Have you seen a Flurry go?
There's still a Flurry in the deck, I believe.
Okay.
The Omega Assemblies are gone.
Yep.
Trying to think of what other spells there
We got
could be.
two options.
Shield Block's not bad.
It's not.
It does enable the Reckless Flurry.
Use the weaker tools first. Not really a big opposition on the other side.
He's also got a little bit of sneaky burst damage in that Razor Pedal. Maybe Sintolol's feeling a little comfortable, puts
Sneaking
himself
in that
down
too.
to 2. Karate chops him a little bit. Bada bing, bada boom. It's so hard not to play a Bone Mare when you have 8 mana.
I'm looking at Spellbreaker dealing 7.
You do have to start putting on some damage.
That shield block, crucial from that pack. That is actually a pretty major deal, although I'm also looking at, 5/10 Ozruk. It's not
There's
bad.
no more Black Knight.
I mean, when else are you going to use an Ozruk, really? I mean,
It's really awkward to fit in being 9 mana. You can't even fit in Hero Power.
it's also just Ozruk. I mean, I'm not exactly excited about it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't talk bad about my elemental Ozrok.
Don't talk to me or my Ozruk ever again.
I wouldn't be opposed to just putting the Life-Use Stegodon on the board. Keep contesting.
Another Dynomatic does make that very appealing.
It would answer Lich King.
Sintolol is now in the hunt, not only for another demon in this spot, but also for Blood Reaver Gul'dan. And when you stop tapping, whoa, wow.
Crossmorn is something he needed for that extra value right now because his hand is running low.
There's a Gluttonous Ooze somewhere in Seohyun's deck.
The draw of the Direhorn Matriarch, though, is going to give him a very powerful turn.
That's a big deal.
It's also a big dinosaur.
Yeah, I love big dinosaurs. Mossy Horror is no help.
Would have to life tap to enable this hooked Reaver if he wants to try and get that online. But then it just makes this turn awkward. Especially at this stage, you want to be playing as many cards as you can.
Yeah, I'm looking at tippy tapping though. Oh. That's not too shabby.
Does contest pretty well. But that sneaky, sneaky razor pedal.
I was just thinking of sneaky, sneaky Baku right here. Sneaking his way on the board. It's rare you get an opportunity to play this card, but now is the time. But Sinto now, he's got initiative.
But because he didn't kill off his own Matriarch,
yeah,
this Frostmourne is going to clean it up. But Sintolol's at 14 health.
I'm taking the 6.
But if there's any kind of removal.
What removal is there? It's an Iron Beak Owl.
What if he finds a way to Reckless Flurry? He can go Dr. Boom Reckless Flurry, clean up the hooked Reaver, and push the 7 damage face for lethal.
Oh, you go to 1, right? Take 6, go to 8.
That is true. Math was not my strong suit.
If I'm in Sintolol's spot here and I'm willing to take that, I'm not going to be a tippy tapping. And I guarantee you he's going through those permutations right now. Sintolol is very head down in the tank. Rarely at that position. You know, he's usually, you can see some thought going on there.
The issue with going down to 1, though, is that Frostmourne may never swing into a minion again.
True story.
Sintolol is just trying to mount some kind of pressure here.
I'll tell you what, the Boom Flurry now is looking ridiculous.
It's looking pristine, Admirable.
That is nuts.
I know you have a man of impeccable taste. And you see...
I'm seeing 4 minions on the other side. This is winning a brawl, okay?
I'm seeing a Baku pushing 7 damage face
it's like
right now.
guaranteed to win the brawl kind of play. That's what I'm all about. And it's like you had a Leroy Jenkins, but instead of a 6 attack and 2 health, you get 1 health and 7 attack instead. So it's the exact same numbers, but you shift them around a little.
It's like you put Leroy in your Odd Warrior, and instead of going Brawl Leroy, you went, I'm going to win this Brawl. And then went Leroy Brawl.
Yeah, and then you won. But
and then pushed 7.
But also a 7-1 instead of a 6-2.
Exactly.
Adding in a lot of unimportant details to really illustrate that issue more.
We're simplifying it for you at home. I like it.
Oh, does this just clear as well?
It also leaves it at a 7-4. Now imagine instead of a 7-1, you have a 7-4 and you won the brawl.
Sinto's in trouble. Sinto may not be in trouble.
But Seohyun has that brawl.
Sintolol just became Blood Reaver Gul'dan.
Seohyun can be going to Dr. Boom?
I think you'd rather have the armor right now, honestly. Like,
you're probably right. You'd rather have the armor, that way you can really contest this hero power, because right now Sintolol is much further into fatigue.
He's reaching for the brawl.
What now?
This is going to be the last board state you probably ever get to brawl. I'm trying to think of what else is left in Sintolol's deck.
Just some stuff. Still a Dread Infernal.
All the top end is gone. Still a Dread Infernal.
Hasn't seen Gen Greymane.
That's currently in the hand.
You've seen both Twilight Drakes? I believe so.
We have seen both Twilight Drakes.
A Shroom Brewer.
There might be another Spellbreaker, but that's not the most impactful. To be honest, I think the extent of the threats is a Dread Infernal and Gen Greymane.
So he's going to take it slow, which means that's a Baku's going to trade. Maybe not. Maybe blocks and pushes. Nah, that's weird. That would just, you just lose your 7 attack then.
I believe he already attacked. He attacked into one of the Vulcan Oculuses. That way he could enable the weapon.
I glanced down at the list and glanced at you right when that was happening. Then I was like, wait. I was like, wait, what? Oh, look at that.
He's trying to generate more threats.
Not only that, extensive fatigue as well.
Sintolol is trying to find an alternative way.
Oh. That puts a 3-6 into play immediately.
But then you can just use the last hit of Super Collider.
Yeah, I don't want to tank 10 more damage. I can tell you that. There's no other weapons in Sintolol's deck.
There's only one ooze, so the other ooze is gone. The first ooze is gone. Well, the only ooze is gone. So maybe seohyun values this Super Collider more than just getting rid of a 4-1. I like playing the ooze, though.
I just don't know you get much better than this. I mean, you're offsetting the 5 you just took. You're stopping 10 future.
And you're developing a 3-3. Still curious on that Brawl, though. Don't think Brawl's ever going to get played again.
I think I tend to agree with you.
I'm almost out of cards.
Sinto knows that a 3-1 is a bit of an issue for seohyun, but you know the cards are running thin.
Oh, he's going to go into Dr. Boom mode. He's considering it.
seohyun's looking kind of stressed in this one. You know, I will say that of all the top 16s he's made, this is the first finals of those top 16s. And I could tell he's been in the hunt for this title for a long time.
Like you said, 6 top 16s. We can't stress that enough.
And seohyun, I will say, at times on stage, when he's on camera, at times I have seen him look a bit stressed and make some plays that, you know, to me look a bit shaky.
Sintolol has 1 card remaining in his deck.
This is kind of why I almost didn't want to swap to boom mode, is because if you just kill the remainder of what Sintolol has left, then he can never kill you. The 4 armor just outscales the 3 damage. Simply and purely every time.
seohyun may have to rely on mechs rushing in, though, in order to clear up some of these minions.
But mechs are left. You got to discover them.
seohyun's going to be keeping track of what's left in the deck. I think he knows that this Matriarch's pretty safe right now. What's the last card in Sintolol's deck?
It's the 6/9 that got shuffled in.
That's right?
Yeah.
So seohyun will know every single card left for Sintolol at this point.
Big hero power right there, 7 armor. That's honestly probably the one Sintolol is looking for too.
And the hero power onto the Gen Greymane prevents the Dread Infernal from coming down and making sure that the Gen Greymane can try and push damage face. I mean, obviously he can trade first, and that's kind of what seohyun wants. He just wants this Gen Greymane dead.
Well, he wants a lot of stuff dead, and he just passed to hedge his bets at this point. You know, this is the best you're going to get with that laser at this stage. So, you know, take what you can.
I believe we just saw 5 cards left in the deck for seohyun.
Yeah, fatigue's nowhere near going to affect him. It's about dealing with this 6/9 now.
Out of my jungle.
1/4s are looking real good.
They're stopping a lot of damage. The Turtle Army is single-handedly stopping the big dinosaur.
He's gonna go with the dinosaurs here.
Well, that's just vicious. Direharm Matriarch taking out its own child.
Just discovery.
Sintolol looks like he wants to just push this damage through with the Spellbreaker, a Spellstone, and a Hero Power. I mean, what else can you do right now?
You know, maybe you don't use the Spellstone, but honestly, it's like something's got to give here. At a certain point, you're just not going to be in that spot again. And, you know, you're wondering where seohyun's going to use this Brawl again. The answer is when the 3rd minion from Sintolol hits the board.
Push that 6 damage face. It's one of the last pushes from Sintolol here.
He's a long way off.
I think you discover first. Find a good enough mech, you don't have to go Zola Brawl. Oh, Steel Rager.
Just removal cards. He's going for the 40% brawl. Sintolol needs the big one to live. And the big one did not live. That's a second brawl on Seohyun's side. And Sintolol going to give it up. 1-0 Seohyun in this one.
For now.
You sweat that?
Well, now it's over.
I guess you would stop sweating if it was.
Yeah.
So now we just got to see how it pans out. Sintolol now, he's going to have to queue either the Odd Paladin or the Taunt Druid.
You talked about how Taunt Druid you thought matched up pretty well against Odd Warrior.
I think it does.
Talk to me.
So the reason I think it matches up fairly well is from the Odd Warrior's perspective, they have to have Owl Brawl or Owl Removal for both board states. But there's a very unique and cute play that actually Seohyun was the one that taught me that you can do to prevent Owl Brawl from being an out. And what that play is you commit the first Hadronox, you then kill it off, you then make sure that the next time you have Witching Hour Cube, you Witching Hour Cube, you have a 6 damage Spellstone, and a Naturalize. You Naturalize one of your Taunt minions, and you Spellstone your cube. That way you have 2 Hadronoxes on the board, so they cannot physically brawl.
That's a lot of stuff that just got said. And I'm just going to agree with you at this point. I mean, it sounded clever.
We may see it here, Admirable.
Sintolol is a very proficient player who I have been, watching now play Taunt Druid for, oh my God, it feels like about 6 months.
He's been doing it for
this
quite
year
some
now.
time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tour stops in the season. He's brought Taunt Druid to the table.
And sometimes, in the Odd Warrior's perspective, if they just don't have Owl, they can't do anything. Because brawling's not enough. You need to have Owl with it to answer the board states, because you have to silence either the cube or the Hadronox.
Any discoveries possible? Make that difference in big cornered sentry from Stonehill Defender?
There are fringe cases where that can happen. You can also find something like maybe even a Hail Mary with Hungry Etten. Hopefully you get a 2-drop beast.
Like that little 1-2 poisonous guy.
Yeah. Or River Croc. Why not?
2 copies of Dragon Hatcher in the deck for Sintolol. He has included the Trog Gloom Meter, which is a 1-attack, 5-health taunt minion with Poisonous. The reason that's included in there is because you just wanted something extra to grab off Master Oakheart. And it's something that helps you push. Not a totally efficient card, but it gets the job done. Where, having taunts come back and having Master Oakheart are concerned. But other than that, it's pretty, standard, straightforward list.
Yeah, it has a lot of niche applications too. Just kind of being better in the mirror, allowing you to get through your opponent's taunt minions. But mostly because it comes off Master Oakheart, just makes more pressure hit the board. All right, pressure's on.
Well, normally that can be an issue. But what I'm looking at here is a Super Collider being able to chew through Dragon Hatcher and not worry too much about it.
The Faceless is going to be strong later on to be able to Faceless and Shield Slam something.
All right, I'm seeing a slowdown here from Sintolol. How much time does Sinto have to really get this going? I mean, is this something that's fairly urgent, or do you think that he has plenty of time?
It depends on how the pan out is. If you have a very high pressure hand early on with Master Oakheart, you can get down to the Hadronox quickly. You want to do it as quickly as possible. But it honestly, sometimes, isn't necessarily a race. You do have time if you do perform one of those plays I was talking about earlier, where you set yourself up for success. You set the Odd Warrior up to not be able to deal with your board state. So there's definitely time in this matchup.
What now?
Seohyun's got not much going on.
I don't know, Kev. I mean,
Kev! It's Kevin to you.
this just looks like a dead turn. You have some of those in Odd Warrior. But, you know, how pressured is Seohyun feeling when this keeps happening? You know, if this happens again and this happens again, are you kind of looking down and going, how do I claw back into this?
Seohyun's job right now is just to try and answer every single board. Oh boy.
Mama. Jace, that is a huge draw. Like, that's the biggest one in the deck.
He needed that right now. He could have taken it slow, but it's much better to go as fast as possible.
I think he would have settled with a Nourish as well, but like, I mean, if you're just going to draw Master O card, like...
Got to make this game interesting.
What's Sintolol thinking about here?
He's thinking about naturalizing his own Hadronox.
And why would he do that?
Not quite sure. There is some consideration for doing it to play around something like Faceless from your opponent. That way they can't get more Direhorn hatchlings. I think that's the strongest consideration. Or Mind Control Tech. Because if Mind Control Tech steals the Hadronox, you lose the game.
That's the one I was looking for right there.
I think that's the major reason.
Only one copy of Mind Control Tech in Seohyun's deck, but Sintolol is, you know, here's the thing. I want to ask you a question about this, because this is a big philosophical approach kind of question I'm going to hit you with, and we're going to get real talk for a second. Is there a reason that Sintolol should not be risking it? Is it too much of a loss to him to risk that getting stolen? Is that a play he's going to make on ladder? Is that a play he's going to make in round 3 of the tournament, or is that a play he's making because the finals, because he's feeling some heat?
Honestly, I think that's a play. If you take your time and think long and hard on it, I think it's a play you should make, because right now, Sintolol probably feels as if he is favored in this matchup if he knows how to play it.
So you're thinking greater than 75%?
Yes.
Even after the naturalize?
Yes.
Wow. All right.
I'm telling you, if he knows the trick, the secret formula I was messing with earlier, he's going to know how to win this matchup.
It's that ancient ninja secret. If you don't know it.
And also because he can do this. There's a lot of pressure still.
Yeah, but that's a silence.
It's an owl brawl. Sintolol may just be trying to do this as quick as possible.
Man, I don't know. That naturalize looked awfully... It looks pretty suspect to me.
But if Mind Control Tech comes down and takes that Hadronox...
you can't be afraid.
And we all know Sintolol. We've seen the burns, Admirable. I think you got to do it.
I don't know, man. I need a taunt druid expert to explain to me the benefits and consequences of that play, because I'm watching this happen right now, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, wow, Sintolol's in trouble.
You know the funniest part about this? You know the taunt druid expert you should talk to?
Seohyun.
Seohyun. He lives and dies by taunt druid.
Yeah, hey, somebody stop them. I got to talk to Seohyun real quick.
Yeah, somebody, let me take off their headsets real quick. Big confirmation on the desk.
Honestly, these Wild Growths drawing right now don't look that bad. You know, you kind of think about the early game.
Through the deck.
He doesn't really need to blast off with quickness to get this done. He needs to find the right cards to get it done.
So here's what he needs right now. He needs the second naturalize. He needs Spellstone. That's it.
He needs to upgrade the Spellstone too.
He does need that, but that's why he's been holding on to this Oaken Summons.
So your goal is to get 2 Hadronoxes down simultaneously.
Yes.
So that way, if one of them dies in the brawl, the other one resummons.
All of the taunt minions.
Ah.
And then you just branching paths for lethal.
Because Seohyun, it's not as simple as Seohyun is just, well, just save 2 brawls in that case.
He has to commit the brawls earlier on
because
to clear with the first one.
Just because of the pressure that's pouring in. Okay. So is that second branching pass in Sintolol's hand, is he looking to save that for pressure, or do you think he's going to dig into the deck here?
I'm going to try and do the math on how much damage he'd have on the board. He'd have 7 minions, all averaging, you know,
let's just say
3.5.
4. Let's just say like 3 or 4.
3 to 4.
So call it 3.5. There you go.
3.5.
Yeah.
3.5 times 7.
I'll call it 20 damage.
Seems at 25 health. He's got a swipe. He may not necessarily need to save that branching paths.
And that being said, he's going to be tanking up too.
It's true. But Seohyun's going to want to be playing these minions for pressure.
I'm sweating.
It's been a common theme this series, Admirable.
I'm sweating.
I think he's going to draw with his branching paths. Oh, he's going for it.
Whoa.
Oh, Seohyun leaned back in the chair.
I'll tell you what, Sinto is just relentless when it comes to pressure. Like, he just does not care. He's like, yeah, have your third AoE.
But not only AoE, he would also need the other Iron Beak Owl.
Needs armor for that one.
So now Seohyun's going to be trying to find a way to kill off this cube and the Hadronox.
Oh my gosh, I
And
forgot
flurry.
the cube is there too. I just literally forgot. In my head, I was just like, all you do is kill this stuff. And you get, oh. Yikes.
I'm trying to find a way right now. I don't think there's a way you can kill off both the cube, the Hadronox, and then Reckless Flurry.
You sweating? Thought so.
I'm sweating. Profusely.
Defend! To arms!
He was just trying to put something in the way of this massive board state. Let's clean up a little bit.
Second naturalize here. Would that be enough? Uh-oh. Why did I say it? I didn't mean to say that.
Is that it? I mean...
Sinto did that really fast.
Yeah, he did.
And that's it. Tied series.
Game number 3.
I don't know how he thought. It's like the Terminator or something calculating those numbers that fast.
I didn't know the Terminator was that good at math, Admirable.
He's a Terminator.
I thought he was just a very persistent robot.
The CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer.
Get to the Druid. Druid will be back.
Golly, that Oakheart.
That O-cart was extremely important.
The Oakheart just fueled a lot of what was going on there. You know, Hadronox would have been still a pretty sizable draw, but it's that the Oakheart started fueling it as well. You know, you add one more big taunt in there, required attention from Seohyun at the same time. I think it's the Oakheart started demanding that Seohyun react faster than perhaps he was wanting to in that situation. You know, if Seohyun's able to hang on to like one more AoE card going into a turn like that, maybe he gets out of it. Sintolol was just blasted off. He's like, I don't have time to wait. None of this guaranteed against the Brawl nonsense.
Yeah, none of that. Just, you know, you don't need to be guaranteed against Brawl if you get it out before they have Brawl. And now Seohyun's in trouble. His counter cue to this is Death Rattle Hunter.
You know, when the first time I played Death Rattle Hunter and I ran into a Druid, I was like, this is going to be so easy. I got the goods, I got the eggs, and I'm slinging out my dinosaurs. And I was like, man, I got Hunter's Mark, I got Rexar. There's no way this Druid's getting into it. And then all of a sudden, they just played turn 5 Trog Gloom Eater. They just played it. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And I attacked it. And then it took me about 2 turns before I realized, hey, wait a minute, this is Taunt Druid. Why didn't I think of that when I saw this Trog Gloom Eater? The match did not last too much longer after that. It was shortly thereafter Hadronox came down. I drew 2 cards, and they had a full board of minions.
Did a Master O-Card get played?
I don't even remember, man.
You know what Master O-Card says, right?
Summon a 1, 2, and 3. Let me just read it real quick.
No, I'm talking about... Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about what it says when it enters the battlefield.
Oh, no, I actually don't know.
You don't know what it says?
I'm not a no-card player.
Okay.
What is it? Hit me with it.
Onward, friends, to the next game.
To the next game. I don't think it says that. So talk to me about Seohyun. Where does he find his edge? I mean, is it just dinos and hope to go real quick?
It is going really fast, putting a lot of pressure on early, and ending this game before Sintolol hits 9 mana.
This is exactly what happened to me. I'm not even kidding. It was just turn 5 Trog Gloom Eater, and I was like, what? That's kind of weird.
This is pressure, though, and this is what seohyun needs to win this game.
Sintolol shaking his head.
He's saying, not like this. There's no spreading plague in this deck. These Devil Swords will be able to connect turn after turn if Sintolol doesn't find ramp quick. That's not ramp.
Aatrox is in hand, by the way. You want that one to get summoned.
Can swipe Spellstone, naturalize. He may have to do that, just so he doesn't take 10 damage from these Devil Swords. I'm gonna take it a little bit slower than that.
Oh, kind of like this. Gives you another swipe draw.
But this cube onto the egg and just relentless pressure from seohyun.
That's the thing, is it's the cube that goes round 2, and Sintolol may not have time.
I think he needed ramp that turn just to play Okart and hope he gets through.
Devil Sword Egg Playdead's a hell of a combo.
And Seohyun's even thinking about fitting a hero power with the Terror Scale.
Damage is damage. And last time I checked, damage plus damage plus damage plus damage plus damage equals lethal.
Last time I checked, anytime you can use a Hunter hero power, you want to do it. Because that thing says deal 2 damage, like you said.
Sintolol just took a big gulp.
He's just going to give it up. That was lethal on the board. Seohyun needed that win there.
Sintolol had that look on his face. Seohyun up 2-1 in the series now, looking nervous.
I don't blame him. He is 1 game away from claiming Dreamhack Atlanta.
I mean, he stole that game 3. It's not supposed to be that easy. It's supposed to be pretty tough.
Like I said, Taunt Druid is favored in that matchup. Seohyun had none of that.
The back of this, it's Odd Paladin for Sintolol. Let me tell you what, that's not a strong matchup.
It definitely is.
For Death Rattle Hunter, but we just said that about the old Taunt Druid.
Anything can happen in Hotlanta.
Now, I will say Odd Paladin tends to be a little bit faster than Taunt Druid. You know, a tad.
Well, it's a little bit faster, you know.
Yeah, you know, instead of doing nothing, you make a bunch of things and start attacking.
And you do something, yeah. But
so he's got the kind of hand.
He's got a really good hand right now.
That's the kind of hand that can do it.
This is that pressure hand I was talking about that you can have against Odd Paladin.
And the good luck King Crush. That was why he won really last time. He drew the King Crush and everything came in order afterwards. Matchup can get really tough for Death Rattle Hunter because it's tough for them to contain the board.
Oh, but that's a candle shot, and that's going to help him contain the board.
Seohyun kind of shaking his head and smiling. I mean, I think he's feeling like he may be close.
I think Seohyun knows a good hand when he sees it. Mossy Horror
picked up.
This may be a quick one, Admirable.
Now, I'm going to ask you again. I know I've asked you about 7 times this weekend.
The egg scrambling.
Are you an egg popper?
No. You leave it be. I think you hope that there's no Death Rattle enabler. Giving them a 5-5 to prevent giving them a 5-5, that's crazy talk.
Iliax. Wow.
Really good for Seohyun
This is
right now.
getting dangerous if you're Sintolol. Big board, though.
Sintolol is just trying to end this game.
But it's paper cuts right now.
Spider Bomb. That's just something he can tempo out onto the board to keep contesting.
This has been such a good opener for Seohyun.
I don't think I've seen better openers.
Ziliax and Mossy Horror, yeah, just keep containing the board, just don't die.
What can Sintolol do? He's facing down 2 Devil Swords, a Spider Bomb, and a Terror Scale.
Keep calling in reinforcements, I guess. I mean,
you gotta do something.
charge.
We've seen how powerful Death Rattle Hunter's been over the weekend.
I'll tell you what, though. Even Odd Paladin, why do I keep saying even? Odd Paladin does not really slow down. You get ahead of it and you can contain it. But if you just go even with it, it keeps going. The deck does not stop. So if Sintolol decides he wants to play defense here, which is kind of what it's looking like he wants to do, never mind. He's going to go full steam ahead.
He's just trying to end this game.
I don't know, man. That's a Spider Bomb.
He's essentially forcing Seohyun into a corner where Seohyun has to constantly trade over and over, hoping that either Level Up or Leroy can get him there in the end.
Do you need that when you got the Ziliax Spider Bomb, though?
I think he's just going to keep taking value trades, and I don't blame him. I think with Mossy Horror in the hand.
Contain
the dudes.
Yeah.
Especially with Mossy Horror in the hand.
There's a certain point where you don't have to contain anymore, and that's, you know, about next turn. Lost in the jungle. Oh. Oh my.
I mean, if you play Stonehill Defender, that's just game.
That 5-4 Spider Bomb is, I think, what's deterring him from this level up right now. But
we know Mossy Horror is waiting.
I know. That's the thing. It's like, you know, oftentimes when you're against these cards that have those massive effects, you close your eyes and you pretend they don't exist. That is typically a strong percentage play.
Is he going to Leroy into it? He just hovered over the Leroy admirable.
Honestly, I think that's quite good.
Good is a stretch.
It's a lot better than the Stonehill.
You're not wrong, but being good is a stretch.
It's still good, though. The Mossy Man.
I think it was the best of the options.
Well, this is still good, though.
I don't even mind the Mossy Horror here. You give yourself another 5/5, you clear up the board, and you can push.
You don't mind blowing up their whole board and getting a 5/5
No,
and a 2/7?
admirable.
What? You're crazy.
Seohyun was trying to convince himself not to play it.
Well, slow down is the key here. Like,
exactly.
He's getting awfully excited, and I don't blame him. We're talking, this is it. You were in a favorite spot in a bad matchup. You're up a game. You got the tools to do it. As long as he's spending mana, I think he's got something good going on.
I think if you go with this line, you have to value trade into that 1/1. Again, if he goes for a Stonehill line, he's going to go for it. He's just trying to put up a wall. But what he doesn't know is Mossy Horror is right there. He's hovering.
No!
He's hovering.
Boom! Seohyun, 3-1 over Sintolol to become the Dreamhack Atlanta champion.
7 for Seohyun, your Dreamhack Atlanta 2018 champion. Being given some lovely flowers by the man who predicted yesterday at the start of the top 8 that he would be the one taking this title home. Those last couple games looked pretty one-sided from where I was standing out in the audience, but you gotta give it to Seohyun. His entire run in this tournament and his run in tour stops the entire year has been incredible.
It's just been something to watch. I mean, even just this year alone, I would say that I've seen Seohyun grow as a player mechanically. A lot of times on stage early on in the season, he would be up there and he'd be sweating and he'd be nervous, and you could just tell that it was getting to him, and he would make plays and you'd kind of go, I think it could have been better, could have been better. But just over time, you know, even just to the most recent tour stop, it was just like night and day from Oakland to the Orange County Tour stop, and then here this weekend, much better looking play, you know, winning the unfavorables by just, you know, blistering starts and being able to calm himself down and go, how does this get out of control? It's if I go too fast, slow down, kill the minions on board, kill the opponent afterwards. It's really cool to watch.
Congratulations, man. An incredible run from you this year. How are you feeling right now? What's going on in your head?
Of course, like, it's super big for me to finally win the top stop after like making like top 16 over and over and like just losing at top 16, top 8. But honestly, I drew so well. It's like any, like, I don't know, it's like it was meant for it, but also I feel like kind of bad for Sintolol because like literally I drew, if you could pick cards in my deck, I literally drew whatever I wanted basically.
But you know what? That wasn't every game that you played in this tournament, and you cannot for a second discredit the work that you have put in to make it to this point. You can't control the cards that you're dealt. That is not your fault. You earned this victory, man, and you need to give yourself the credit for that because you put in the time and the effort getting up to this point. So talk to me about the work that you did crafting this lineup and coming into this event.
I think first I really want to thank the endemic team, Killinode, Torre, Swaggy. This tour stop, I worked with Swaggy a lot. We did a lot of practice. Clone Priest did pretty well on stream as watched, but it wasn't like what I really wanted to bring at first. At first I really wanted to bring Death Rattle Paladin, but Swaggy just beat me over and over, and I'm like, okay, you're right, I can't bring this. And then I went to HS Replay, looked at a little bit of stats, and then Clone Priest that I did what I really wanted to do, like beat Druid, beat Warrior. It's kind of weird that I still have to ban Hunter because it's a good matchup, but overall it's overall a really good deck, I think.
It performed incredibly well. And you were saying that Swaggy G kept getting the better of you in your practice matches. You actually had to go up against him earlier on in the tournament. What was that like?
It was really tough. It's also like, at first we were like kind of happy that at least one of us can make top 4. But reality is like we want to meet each other in the finals. It was really tough match first. He got the right Q on me, got my Warrior with the Mildred, and Clone Priest I was expecting to get like 1 or 2 wins. That would be pretty awesome already, but managed to get the sweep, yeah.
It was absolutely incredible to watch. Admirable, Dr. J. Do you have any questions for our champion?
I want to talk about some technical stuff here. Talk to me about the difference between Conquest and Last Year of Standing. What's the difference in preparation like?
I think Conquest is overall I think a little bit harder, I would say, because like first you can choose like you rather want to bring aggro, control, anti-control, mixed lineup. Like Hunter is always love to bring mixed lineup. He does very well. So first you choose that, and then you have to pick the deck choices, know your ban, pick your tech cards such as like that. But for Last Year of Standing, my goal was to bring like what I think is like good decks. Like I think Druid is really good. Odd Warrior, of course, top tier. Death Hunter, like, you see it could be anything. Like even Palace, such a bad matchup. Yeah. Last deck was what I was struggling for weeks before coming here, and at the end I chose Clone Priest because it's fun. There's RNG. You never know. Sometimes live just gives you what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions for you. I just want to congratulate you because this has been a long time coming for you, Seohyun. So I am so proud of you, my man, and I am glad you finally got what you deserve.
Well, no questions from Dr. J, but you do have the opportunity to pass the torch from one Dreamhack Atlanta champion to another. Dr. J. Kaninki, would you please present our champion with his trophy?
It would be my honor, Seohyun. Congratulations on being the Dreamhack Atlanta 2018 champion.
Thanks, man.
Woo!
Congratulations again. Seohyun has done it after 6 top 16 or better performances in tour stops this year. The 7th time was the lucky number, and he is the Dreamhack Atlanta champion, ending things on a phenomenal note for the final points earning event for this season. That's going to do it for us here at Dreamhack Atlanta. Thank you all so much for joining us for our final North American Dreamhack event of the year. We will be back December 1st through the 3rd for Dreamhack Winter in Sweden. We hope to see you all then. And again, thank you so much to Corsair and LG for making this event possible and making it a reality for Seohyun to finally get his championship title.